That boy happened. Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to our weekly Precision Markets office hours with your Precision Markets Precision Markets coaches Brian and Marco. We host these every week so that we can be able to discuss any questions that you may have regarding anything trading related. If you want to share your charts, you want us to look at trades you're taking, you want us to help you with analyzing the market, you have questions about concepts. I mean, pretty much this is a dedicated time for us to be able to answer anything, and especially with visuals added, so that way that you can be able to see it. If you happen to have any questions, go ahead and share with us inside the chat. Marco and I will take a look at it, and we'll go through and review questions and the answer that we receive. And if you happen to want to come off mute, go ahead and come off mute. We can go ahead and discuss. But with that, we'll go ahead and let everybody begin. So also let us know as well too, how y'all are I was gonna say, how are y'all doing with the market as of late? Because I know last week it has been quite an interesting turn of events, especially when last week when inflation was announced and the market decided to sit sideways all week. And we've got the man with the plan and the great biceps, Precision Markets coach Nathan. All right, let's see. For our first question,
what's happening, man?
What's going on, man?
Good. How's things?
Pretty slow.
Yeah, pretty slow. I'm just at the grocery store here. I'm just leaving, trying to get home on time.
No
So
worries.
I'm just joining in.
Guys, take note. Take note from Market Maker Nathan. You have to have lots of fruits and veggies and the right vegetables for you to be successful in the market.
Plenty of protein too, don't forget.
Don't forget the protein, y'all. It's very important. All right, so first question we have, do you recommend taking POIs that happen during dead zone? Let's talk about that, right? So give me 1 second, guys. Let me decide how I want to do this. Oh, no, give me un momento. Let me get my charts up, guys. Okay. Well, there. All right, I'm gonna share my screen, guys. Let me know. Man, there are some people coming in today. That's good. All right. Let me know when y'all can see my screen, all right?
Yep, works.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna draw a couple areas, right? I'm gonna make this one into teal. If I know what I was doing. There we go. There we go. All right, so here we have the market. Does what it does. Then we break out. All right. So I'm gonna answer your question kind of in a roundabout way. Let me know if you understand it after I get an explanation. We're gonna pretend that this area right here is the Asian range. And usually what that makes up of is the Tokyo session plus the Sydney session, right? So we have price kind of consolidated, made a high, made it low. It goes and it breaks out, right? Now, what ends up happening is you get into here, and we're going to make this one purple. And so this is going to be our London range. So this is the London session. All right. So let's say, for instance, we have a POI that's here during our that was created during our Asian session, right? And then during the London, what does price do? Price continues to go through, and price continues to break through it, right? And let's say it comes over here and goes to that same section. All right, so now we're getting close to it and outside. Now we're gonna have one more area pull up, and this is going to be our New York session, right? So what happens during New York? It reacts off of it, reacts one more time, and then it goes through. You might say, I'm just giving this illustration because I'm gonna explain how it connects to the dead zone. So pretty much like, let's say for instance, this is what we have, right? So, oh, I forgot to name this one at the top. Whoopsies. All right, so we're gonna name this one the session. You have to be careful of zones that occur during low volume times, because statistically, when it comes to volumes, 38% of all transactions are done during the New York session. This for, I don't have, what's it called? And the London is 41%. And then Asian range is just the leftover, right? So you add 41 plus 38, that's 79. So the remainder is 21%. So what that pretty much means is that you have, this is why people say, we'll say a lot of times that the Asian session is just liquidity, because it creates basically the high and the low of the day. You usually want the highs to be taken, and then depending on whatever happens, it may take the lows or it may go continue higher. But that's why a lot of people, see theories online that people talk about the Asian, it's just a range. Taking trades during the Asian, you're just a low volume time. Same thing kind of can be said for dead zones. The best time that you really have to trade is when the London session and the New York session tend to overlap. Those are your highest probability trades, because if 38% of all transactions are done in New York and 41% are done in London, you combine together, you have 79% of transactions that are right here in this time. Whereas there's generally, what you'll notice is that when the Asian and London cross over, because there's an hour in which they cross over, the Frankfurt session starts, and then it goes into London session an hour later, but the Tokyo session continues. That's why you generally see like a big boost at the beginning of the London session, and the market kind of goes, because you just went from 41% of all transactions to 41%. Then you have some good volume. Then you have the crossover, in which you have sometimes strong movement, but not enough. And then you have it kind of die off at the end of the day into some consolidation as it goes into the Asian session. So you can take your PRIs off of like dead zones, but you have to be very careful, because when more momentum enters the market, then that's enough to change the way that you even look at all the trades. I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the chat. And so I'll try to give you a visual example too. Let me know in the chat that answers your question. So let me turn back on price. Okay. So let me give you an example, right? Where is my, I don't have it. Let me see. Here we go. Okay. So Asian session range. Let me try off some things really quick. Here we go. All right. So pretty much, I'll give you an example for today, right? So here we have the Asian range, which we go from this high to this low. So that's the whole range. It takes out this. So we had some demands that were created here. Price made some small reactions off of it. So like this would have been a demand. This could have been a demand. But ultimately, if you look at the volume, so here was like let me see if I can change the volume. Okay. You have kind of a fall off in volume here. How was like 2,700, 2,070, 2,708. It goes down to about 1,000, right? So we had these demands here. but they were very weak when it came to orders, right? You go over here and you look at the London session. London session on average was almost double the volume that was happening um, here, right? And then as you go into the crossover, in the crossover section, it has double the volume, right? So what price do? It kind of broke through a lot of the zones. And so when you look at like a demand zone hours, they create like supplies and demand zones, right? But at the same time, they're like low volume times where there wasn't much movement in the market. So if you find something, it's not as, for instance, likely to hold. So like, for instance, there's barely any orders here. Here was a demand broke, and then price ricocheted up when it started the Tokyo session. Then price came down, took out this demand as we got more orders and more volume of orders in. So you just want to be careful, if that makes sense, because if you pick demand and supplies off of like low volume times, you'll think that it's a strong demand or supply zone, and it's really not. And that's another reason why we look at other confluences, like in 2.0, we talk about imbalances of movement only that market makers could make in the market. So if the market makers, decide, for instance, for a high volume of orders, they're the only ones that can make price, have a gap where it doesn't get filled with wicks. So that's another high probability sign that we found a good zone. But it's just something else to keep in mind as potential considerations, right? So just other things to kind of think about when you're looking at trading. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, volume can be also used as a confluence. All right, you got Perry Taylor. Yeah, I hate when in New York reverses. I need to get better at catching them. Yeah, I mean, today's PA, guys, if we look at it from a couple, general things that we look at, if I can get this chart to do what I want to do. Okay. Something real quick, guys. So, I mean, when we look at general PA, duration wise, I'll go to the daily. It's been really kind of tough when you think about it, guys, because price made a strong move downwards. It came up, it consolidated a lot, had 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch. Then finally, it broke out of this real range. Price made a strong move downward. And then if you see, made touch to this high, this low, wicks again to this high, wicks again to this low. Finally, kind of comes up above. So it takes 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the 5th time, it finally goes through, but yet we're still in the range. This candle right here is was all because of the inflation announcement last week for CPI and not being it. So more than likely, from a market structure perspective, we're heading downwards. But the last couple of days, you see price reeled back, was trying to reel back from the movement of just this being news right here. So there was news, and then now price made finally a move kind of downward today. So but when you think about market wise, we really have been playing within a range kind of like this, guys. So on a line chart, you can kind of see it. Boom, 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 boom. So hopefully we break out this range and we have much better and cleaner PA. And largely a lot of this is due to the fact that we're waiting for news that's going to happen tomorrow for them announcing, the Fed going to announce their economic projections and the interest rate decisions. So you can see the market's really in a state of hesitation. It's not just one pair. You see it in multiple pairs as well, too.
You also see, like, as well, whenever we like tap daily supplies and daily demands, you will get 4-hour reactions, right? That can range too. I think a lot of people tend to forget about the daily. Like, the daily is so important. So like when it taps a daily zone, expect something to happen, especially if it's trying to generate liquidity or it's just giving a reaction, because we're inside a daily demand right now. And exactly what you were saying there about the news, we're creating this liquidity to the downside. I wonder what they're, or who they're going to manipulate, like what side is going to be manipulated here.
Yep. Because even when they had the news announcement, I know Marco and I were talking about this, like we were in a daily supply right here. And then we have news, it dropped us down. And just like Nick was saying, guys, if you look at it, you see wick. So let me map this out for y'all. Wick in the same area, wick in the same area, didn't body close, another wick, and we still have yet a wick towards the bottom. So we create this range. We've broken out to this high side, probably the manipulation. Like Nick was saying, we've made a move to the downside. We still have it kind of wicking here. This candle's probably going to close right here, but with tomorrow's announcement, we really could see Euro continue to go downward and finally break out of that range. So,
yeah, 100.
And remember, like I said, this candle right here, this was all because of news right here. So this was our news candle, and then price can continue to go into this consolidation. So we have to, if we're playing these, if you're going to play these ranges, you got to play sell at the highs, buy at the lows. And then, as you see this breakout, this could be the manipulation move, because this definitely was, all of this was accumulation, guys. Or as when you talk about the AMD model that Rob posted a video about on YouTube. And so now we have momentum that can show us the move going to the downside. So yes, the market structure wise might say, all right, this is a higher high, it broke out. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind, looking at this kind of whole daily structure, daily wise, we still haven't, this is probably going to be a lower high spot. And if price continues to go down and breaks down to that low, then we'll definitely create this to be a lower high, and we still haven't finished this lower low move. So
yeah,
sometimes if you can't get clear, like for instance, if you're looking at 4 hour and you weren't sure what to do here, always go up to a time frame higher, like the daily, and it can help show you the bigger picture, what you're looking for. Even if I believe if you go to the, let's see what the weekly it did. From a weekly standpoint, made this lower low, we're hovering around, you can see like this is a, we have basically this range. We got wick, but we still at this lower low spot from a weekly standpoint. So more than likely, even from a weekly standpoint, we're going downward. So it can help you draw your influences, just going up even higher time frames, guys, just to kind of help you see, especially when you have moments like these. PA has been kind of sucky, so it's been something that you learn patience, or you learn how to manage your trades within those.
Yeah, and a lot of liquidity rests above those daily previous day highs, and also the previous week highs and lows. So if we even look at the weekly, we are just about to come down to take out the weekly liquidity of the previous week low, right, as well. So look how close that is over here. This one over here on the right, and this one over here. So that's our like previous week high and low. So
yeah, there's definitely a lot of confluence
just
that
take
you
those
can
lows.
see to the lows, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
Sorry, the internet cut out there.
Oh no, I was saying that like you said, like we're within the week, there's a lot of confluence for us to go kind of further south.
Yeah.
And then all news is really used is like when you think about fundamentals in news, it's really used to give you a long-term picture, right? Like fundamentals, it doesn't exactly happen today, but it's going to happen over time. So you may see it over the next coming weeks, right? And it's you also use as catalyst to do shifts. So when the market wants to shift, a news event is usually that catalyst that helps to shift, and then we're able to confirm what we see with technicals. Technically, we can see that this pretty much looks like the lows are probably going to go, right? News-wise, more than likely, the news is going to come in being negative for euro, positive for the dollar, which means that price is going to go downwards anyways. So we have a lot of confluence that we can use to be able to help us get a game plan of how to approach the market for the day. So
it's totally up to Brian where he wants to move it, because he's in charge of the market. So totally up to him.
I wish, brother. One day soon, I'm gonna get to that point where when I drop my orders in the market and I tell y'all to buy or sell, don't question me. I'm gonna move at least 5 pips for you.
Yo.
I'll give you
a
5
lot
pips.
of lots going on those pips. A lot of lots going on then, bro. Just let us know.
I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna give you heads up. We're all gonna eat, okay?
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. What other questions do y'all have? Anything else y'all want to discuss? PA you want to review? Charts y'all want to share? Just trades you want to the review concepts you want us to break down for you, let us know in the chat. We'll dedicate this time to y'all. Anyone have any cool trades that they want to share? Can we go over Nas PA? We definitely can. So let me change my chart back to one chart. Okay, cool. So let's look at the NASDAQ. I'm gonna start with the daily time frame. So pretty much we came into for last week, and I use range-based demand and supply. So I look at all this as the build-up before the move, before it went down. We priced it tapped previously before into this lower supply, and price made a move where it went from lower high to lower low to coming up, and then we had the inflation announcement. Price instantly came down. Price took out that last low, and then price has been kind of hovering. I looked at it for the day. Yesterday was a holiday, so there wasn't enough for it to push down, right? But price decided to come up. Here's something I should have recognized today. Yesterday being a low volume day because of the Queen's death and having her funeral, there was a chalk that was in here on the 1 hour time frame that I was using. I had used this chalk to be a basis for us to go bullish because we had swept the highs, swept the lows, and price came back into this demand yesterday. So it came into this 1 hour demand zone, and price, took off somewhere around the New York session. But honestly, even this movement was pretty weak. This definitely, you got rejection wicks to the side, to the downside. So you could say that there was a reason for it to move, but there wasn't exactly a bullish movement. And so there was low volume. And this is why I talked about earlier about not making your supply and demand zones based on low volume areas or even days. Because what did price do? Well, we'll go back down. We're going to go down to the 15-minute. I had a bullish technical bias, but for the whole day, I had a feeling that sales were going to be in. I just couldn't technically decide how I could, justify it. So I didn't take any trades, but I did take a couple of trades, and they all broke even. And after that, I was like, all right, clearly I can't see that the demand is not in control. You have supply in control, right? So this demand zone was broken. It created another demand zone here. This one was broken. And then it had made another demand zone here. This one was broken. I think I used this demand zone. So I took a trade right about here, and it got up about 3R, broke me even. Boom. So then you see what price did was, since we had a low volume day yesterday, this is where New York started, and price made a move up when it had, not really the London volume to track. What price do today, it started to come right back down. So we had a couple of supply zones that were created. Here was one. Here was another. So we got a couple of different supplies. And ultimately, price continued on with its move, continued going downward. So made a demand, I think like right here. But ultimately, you see demand failing all day. So this dark. But all of our demands got broken, started creating more supplies. Eventually, we broke a couple of supplies, and then it came back in. It's made a move downward. Now we can kind of expect that something like this, it'll make a move. Why? I'll do this. So it comes back into the supply. So now when we kind of look, well, we're getting close down here to where we have, as some people would put it, some external liquidity. So what do I kind of look and see technically the price would do? Probably do some move like this and come on down, because we expect the news not to be positive for corporations anyways, based upon just the general trend of what we've seen from interest rates and inflation, etc. So probably it'll give us a downward move. Now, I know you also asked about US 30. It's pretty much the same thing, since they move with a high level of confluence. So we'll go back to the daily. Daily wise, we've tapped into a couple of different demand zones. So here we're sitting in demand. Here we had another demand. And then we have our last more extreme demand that's down here. So far, and we even had demand here, but this was more like in premium pricing. So for buys, we don't want to do that. So price broke through here, price broke through here. Price is now, it hovered, it gave us a reaction at this demand zone, but you see this strong bodied candle because like I said, yesterday's volume is weak. And pretty much I took a demand zone buy right here to went up 3R, broke me even. And then every other demand after that was really just getting broken. So here we're all a bunch of demand, except for this one. This one had like a fair reaction, and then price came back through and broke it through. So now you can see price is almost making its way back to the supply, in which it'll probably find some resistance. If not, we have this supply, we have this supply. So you have a bunch of supplies like that. Here's a supply they've even tapped to. So you could have taken a buy from here and it go up into this region, and then ultimately it coming back down and reacting off of this previous supply zone it created, which is probably the same result here. So you're probably looking at something like this to happen. And down she goes until she's going to take out, we've already taken out this from a liquidity standpoint, and price is really going to probably blow through this daily demand zone. So just something to keep in mind, but watch your charts, look for technical confirmations, but hopefully that helps, Perry. Let me know in the chat if that's clear. Awesome. All right. The next question, Nathan, can you go through your EU trade? Nathan, are you at a place where you can share your screen?
Yeah, just at home
Okay, cool.
now. So yeah, no problem.
Floor is all yours, buddy.
Yep, let's get this open. So trading view. All right, so today's trade, I'll be honest, right? I really kind of mismanaged this trade in a way, and I'm not proud of it, but I'll explain it and I'll man up to it. Things happen in life and you just have to accept it and learn from it. So with this trade in particular, I was looking for a counter order flow long, right? So we could see here during the New York session, we had supply in control, right? So supply was in control. It wasn't coming back to mitigate. By the time I got to the computer, it was around this area here. So I was looking at this last supply zone for a trade short. Hopefully, hoping to take out some of this liquidity at least, maybe run this target. But price came down, and I was like, right, what do I have to deal with here? And is there any way that I can get in long to get into this supply to continue short? That was my plan. So the only PA I had was kind of this down candle. I came right in the middle of that. So I was just looking left and I was like, okay, everything in here was mitigated on the 1M. It would kind of look like liquidity to me. I was looking at this area as well inside here, for the reason being that we had a little bit of an
I think guys, his internet may have cut off, so we'll just give him a second for him to join back in.
Hello, guys, can you hear me?
Yep, now we can hear you.
Sorry about that. Just the internet connection went off there. Yeah, so I was saying that I was looking just at this demand zone down below, trying to pull a cheeky long from here into supply and down. So we basically took out the previous day low, which was this low here. This was part of an extra confluence with the inducement I had on top of this demand zone. So whenever that liquidity got taken, I went down to the 1M, checked out the 15M demand, and basically seen this happen down here, right? So we tapped into demand right over here. This was my last bit of supply. So I was looking for a break of that. Now we got that break right here with this wick. We pushed further up, and I was thinking, you know what, do we have any liquidity before tapping into the zone? And I was looking at this extreme, it was unmitigated. So basically, I decided to use this level as a first level of respect, in meaning that I am counter order flow because supply is in control. It's been in control the whole way down here and on the 15M. And if I want to take a long, I need to see some more bullish intent on the 1M. I don't want to get in just on any sort of change of character because it could knock me out. It is against trend, especially with the heavy bearish flow we've been seeing today, right? So I decided to use this as my first level of respect, meaning that if I can get another change of character or break of structure from this zone, then I would enter. So price tapped my floor, my first level of respect, and I waited for another change of character. That's when we can see we got the low taken here, we broke supply here, and that was my entry right there. Break even was the push down into my demand zone or my entry zone, which it always is. That's my break even level. So I was break even within 2 to 3 minutes there. Now, the goal of this trade, like I was saying, was to target the 15M supply to continue the bearish order flow down. And it happens sometimes, right? It didn't quite reach my zone. I did have an idea that if this high right here would be swept, but there was a chance that it could come down. Now, to be honest, I was expecting a small move down, maybe into this demand right here, continuation upwards. I was so focused and so biased on this 15M supply to short from here to take out all that liquidity that the trade totally went against me. So within this trade, I was running, I think at the time about 15 or something, 13 or was it? Yeah, about 13 or something like that. And price started to come against me. So I ended up just taking my stop loss. I put it under, I believe it was this low right here. And I covered for something like 5 or. So as long as I got my 5 or, I was quite happy with that. To be honest, it, you know, what can I say? Like, I can only learn from it and say, you know what, it is a counter order flow trade. It shouldn't be maybe too aggressive wanting to get it back into supply. And to be honest, with these sort of moves, when order flow is so against you, you have to be grateful for what you get. So taking a minimal target of 5 or looking for maybe highs, which are, you know, within relative distance, would be a better target because everything is against you in these sort of trades. So looking for the extra confirmation and getting it and getting into the trade, taking some profit and leaving it is probably the best option. But I just held on for dear life to hit that zone. I was looking at this zone up here to get tapped before taking the trade out, but it just started to turn against me. So closed for 5 or, not the best management, but definitely something to learn from. And yeah, that was the trade for EU. Any questions on it? Hello? Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you guys can. Oh, okay, great.
Everybody is appreciative. Everybody's appreciative. Thanks for that breakdown. All right, guys, we thank y'all for taking time to join us on today's Q&A call. If you happen to have any questions that you can think of, don't forget we have our Discord, so you can be able to answer any questions in there. The Precision Markets coaches and our student leaders, we'll all take turns being able to go through and just answer your questions. So don't hesitate to ask away. Also, don't forget on Thursdays at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is GMT -7, we have our Power Hour call with Rob. So if you have something that you want to ask or visually see there, definitely tune in for that. And then outside that, guys, if you have something that you need help working on, please take advantage of our coaching. Each of the Precision Markets coaches, we offer one-on-one coaching. It's a dedicated hour in a Zoom session in which we can go through anything that you need to focus on when it comes to trading wise. And it really helps. We've seen tremendous improvements from everybody that goes through it. They help to clean up a lot of things in their trading, help to resolve any confusions and questions that we have, and even give you, the tools and resources for you to go ahead and do what's necessary. So, guys, don't hesitate to take advantage of all the resources we offer in the community. We offer a lot because we want to see every single one of you become successful traders. We want to help guide you through your path and do anything we can necessary within reason to be able to make sure that you find success, not in the next 10 years, not the next 5 years, but, within a reasonable amount of time. As long as you're putting in the work, we're here for you. So with that, guys, the recording will be up on Future Bulls. Rob will let us know when it's up there. But until that time, we'll catch you in Discord, and I wish you the best of luck trading this week. May you be disciplined, be courageous, to be decisive, follow your plan, and find nothing but success, profitable trades, and no losses. With that, we'll talk to y'all later. See you in Discord.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Thanks. Yeah.